Hello everyone, and welcome. Look, I get it. Trying to keep up with the daily flood of news when you're already buried in polity, history, and everything else, it can feel like a full-time job, right? Well, that's exactly why we've put together this weekly briefing. Think of it as your super focused guide to the current affairs that you absolutely need to know for your TNPSC exams. So, let's jump right in. So, here's how we're going to break it down this week. We'll start close to home with all the key updates from Tamil Nadu. Then we'll zoom out to the national scene and look at some major policy and economic moves. After that, we'll explore some really fascinating news from the world of science and the environment. Then we'll touch upon India's role on the world stage with defense and global partnerships. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a clear weekly takeaway to help you with your revision. Sound good? All right, let's get into what is probably the most important section for all of you. What's been happening right here in Tamil Nadu? I want to start with a number, a big one. 767 crore rupees. This was a standout figure from the recent Tamil Nadu interim budget. Now, have a think. Where do you reckon a massive amount like that is being directed? I'll give you a clue. It's a huge investment in our state's future.
And there it is. A whopping 767 crore rupee composite grant is going to our state universities. And this isn't just for a fresh coat of paint. No, this is a strategic move to seriously upgrade infrastructure and push up academic quality. Now for your exam notes, this is a perfect example of state fiscal policy in action, directly shaping the future of education and human capital in Tamil Nadu.
Okay, so from the state budget, let's move to our state's incredible history. Something really exciting is happening at the Kiladi excavation site. And this quote right here, open-air format, it gives us a big clue. We're moving away from the old-school, stuffy museum model to something way more immersive, letting us experience history right where it happened. And a couple more key updates from the state you should know about. First, for your polity paper, this is a big one. The panel looking into union-state relations has just submitted its initial report. That's definitely going to be a topic of debate. And second, in education reform, the state is bringing in a single window system for PhD admissions. That should make life a whole lot easier for research scholars. Right then, let's shift our focus from the state to the national level. We're going to look at some of the big-picture economic and policy changes happening across India that you really need to have on your radar.
So, we all use GPay, PhonePe, UPI. It's a part of our daily lives. But here's a good exam-style question for you. How does the government, officially track how widespread digital payments have actually become across the country?
The answer is this, the RBI Digital Payments Index, or the RBI DPI. You can think of it as a sort of national report card for our digital economy. And it's pretty smart, actually. It doesn't just count transactions. It looks at the whole ecosystem, from the infrastructure that enables payments to how easy it is for us, the consumers, to use them. It's a really comprehensive way of measuring our progress. Next up, two important government funds you should know. First, we have the Startup India Fund of Funds 2.0. This is basically the government's way of injecting more capital into the startup world, helping those brilliant new ideas get the support they need. And then there's the Urban Challenge Fund, or UCF. This one's quite interesting. It essentially creates a competition to find the most innovative solutions for the problems our cities are facing. So two very different funds, but both are aimed at driving innovation. Now, this is a major development. India's own food corporation, the FCI, is partnering with the World Food Program. This tells you a lot about how far India has come. We're shifting from a nation that once received food aid to becoming a global partner. We're now in a position to share our expertise and resources to help fight hunger around the world. That's a huge deal for our international standing. Okay, from international agreements, let's switch gears to discoveries about our planet. It's time for science and environment news. As you know, these topics are always a favorite in the GS paper, and this week had some really cool updates. So our next story comes from a source that should look pretty familiar to all of you, an official bulletin. And it's about a very, very tiny creature that's been making some pretty big news in the scientific community. Before we go any further, let's quickly cover what a diplura even is. Put simply, it's a tiny, primitive, wingless little creature that lives in the soil. They are usually blind and are super important for keeping our soil healthy because they help with nutrient cycling. So why are we talking about them this week? Because a brand new species has been discovered right here in India. Meet Lepidocampa sycamensis. It was found by the Zoological Survey of India in the Eastern Himalayas, and this is a really big deal. It's the first time an Indian team has formally described a new diplura species, and they even got its first DNA barcode. Definitely a name to remember for your prelims. From a new discovery to a conservation alert, here's an important update for your biodiversity notes. The cheer pheasant, a beautiful bird that nests on the ground, has now been officially classified as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. This really highlights the increasing danger its habitat is in.
And this is a massive leap forward for medical science in India. The country's very first national biobank for lysosomal storage disorders has just been launched in Ahmedabad. A biobank is essentially a library of biological samples that researchers can access to study rare genetic diseases. This is a complete game changer for medical research in India, and it's a government initiative funded by the Department of Biotechnology.
And now, for our last main section, defense and global partnerships. Understanding where India stands on the world stage is absolutely critical, and we had a couple of major headlines this week.
First up, there's a huge naval event to look forward to. The International Fleet Review is set to take place in Visakhapatnam in 2026. The President of India will be there to review the fleet. Just look at the theme, United Through Oceans, Strengthening Bridges of Friendship. That tells you it's as much about diplomacy as it is about defense. Plus, it's happening at the same time as the big Milan naval exercise, so Visakhapatnam is going to be buzzing with navies from all over the world.
And on the diplomatic front, the relationship between India and France just got a major upgrade. It's now officially a Special Global Strategic Partnership. Now, this isn't just fancy jargon. It means there's a much deeper level of trust and commitment to work together on big global issues like stability, security, and the economy.
Phew. Okay, we've gone from state budgets to global strategy. Let's take a moment now to connect all the dots and give you one solid takeaway for your revision this week.
So, what's the big story this week? At the state level, it's all about strategic investment in our universities and our priceless cultural heritage Akility. Nationally, the big theme was innovation, with new funding for startups and smart city solutions. And in the world of science, we saw India really flexing its muscles, discovering a new species and launching a world-class biobank. So yeah, a week of smart investments and brilliant discoveries.
And that brings us to the end of this briefing. We've covered a lot, from that massive 76 crore grant to the new India-France partnership. So as you get back to your studies, my question to you is this: which of these topics is going straight to the top of your revision plan for this week? Keep that focus, stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next briefing.